Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in on this nice, well, decently nice Saturday where I'm at. It's semi-overcast. Today, Jan from New York City, my colleague, is
Hey,
alongside with me.
Steve. Hey,
Hey, Jan.
everybody.
Um, so we're gonna talk about a few things. I'm gonna go ahead and say, I'm gonna ask you if you have anything, in particular you might want to bring up that is of
I sure do,
you
Steve.
do. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for the turn of the microphone. Hi, everybody. How's everybody
Welcome.
doing today? Thank you, Steve, for having me here. I hope everyone's doing well as always. Thanks for coming by on a wonderful Saturday afternoon. You know, without even using a pen and without even getting a checkbook, just imagine an imaginary checkbook and an imaginary pen in your hand. Every single person viewing this video on this date, November 5th, 2022, I am super excited to report to you, ta-da, what? That you, all of us, can write your own check for $56 on January 1, beginning today. What? What am I talking about? Going back to the original plan of the dollar a day challenge, you're saying, what? If everyone stopped everything this afternoon for about 1 minute, walked over to your purse, to your wallet, grab a physical green dollar or whatever the equivalent of that dollar would be, put it in a jar or an envelope, do it every single day from this day forward through the holiday season. And on January 1, even if you had zero in your bank account, you just wrote yourself a check for $56. What a nice way to start the new year. What a nice way to start the new year, having a little bit of something than a whole lot of nothing. Steve, I am really very adamant about this. I am very adamant about incremental savings, saving a little bit at a time in small baby bites. I think we take things in the wrong light. And thank you, Steve, because Steve is going to attach to this video my most recent upload of this morning, which was an audio show about the importance of saving. Steve, I have a question for you. Just a brief question. How do you think that mice and squirrels have like something in common? I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but do you think mice and squirrels have something in common?
Well, the only thing I can equate to that would be going back to the Tom and Jerry cartoon, but um,
You're
you
kind
know
of
they
close with that.
yeah, well, let's see.
They get into mischief, so
They do
that's
get
one
in they get into
component.
mischief. I heard that they both like cheese, but I also heard different around the way. I also heard that they also like peanut butter as well, but I don't know how true to word that actually is.
You're
But
kind of hitting on like the right direction. Both of them, Steve, are looking for something. Okay. Now, a mouse is like a very small, pretty much despised animal by a lot of people, including me. I don't even want to think of it. But mice are very curious. And I even mentioned this on this morning's video. When they want something, they will make it their way to get something. For example, I don't know if people know this, but if a field mouse gets into your garage, they could sneak underneath the car, get into the car, and start finding ways to chew on wires and things. If they make their way in the car, that's why it's important to keep your car pretty, clean. But believe it or not, even field mice get in. They have a way. But you're thinking, well, how could a tiny mouse with a tiny mouth do things? Small. They start small. But guess what, Steve? The mouse is persistent, persistent, persistent. Okay.
hmm
People, when it comes to savings, we have the power, Steve, and everyone viewing, to start small. It's not about the big amount, it's about the constant chewing, right? Like that mouse that never gives up till that mouse gets what that mouse wants. Whether we like it or
That's
not
right.
is irrelevant. They're going to still try to get what they want.
Oh, they will. Yeah.
Now, what about squirrels? You're probably saying, well, why am I bringing up squirrels? And I've said this, Steve, like 1,000 times in my past videos in the past. About a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, and I will always pose this question. And if you're a new viewer to Steve's channel or to my channel, thank you from both of us. But let me tell you something. I'll never understand this for the life of me, Steve. If a squirrel with a brain the size of a pea knows how to squirrel away nuts for the winter, why can't sophisticated so-called human beings plan ahead?
Well, yes. As much as I hate to come down to saying it this way, not that I'm talking ill here when I say this, but it sounds like a squirrel has more common sense than a human being does.
Sometimes yes, sometimes yes.
That's yeah, that's the impression that I'm getting because squirrels, they're pretty much on autopilot when they do their own thing. Oh, I've seen squirrels in action when I'm out in the park when I have been. Oh no, they're smart. They'll take nuts and they'll hide them and they'll put them in the ground and they know exactly where they're at. So they squirrels are pre-planners. They think ahead.
Yes.
You know, that's what's wrong with us. If we, as human beings, as people, I'm not saying we all don't, but the ones that do not need to start doing a little bit of pre-planning ahead because it'll actually benefit you better in the long run down the road if something were to occur,
Right.
whether it be starting or building up a stockpile, building up an emergency fund, which it never hurts to have some money set aside in the case of, what is to fabricate.
You're bringing up a really good point, Steve. That you wanted to say something. I don't want to trip on your words.
Oh, you're no. You just did. Only thing I was going to include after that is it's always good to have your ducks lined up ahead.
Well, I
That
got a
way,
squirrel story for you, and you are correct about lining your ducks up in a row. Correct? That's what you tried to say.
yeah,
I got a
yeah,
squirrel story for you, Steve. You're not even going to believe this, but it's a human being. A woman, this was one of my proud moments, Steve. For those who don't know, didn't hear it on my prior video this morning on my channel. Guess what? This was a proud moment to me as a content creator. One of the viewers, okay, subscriber viewer, she was listening to me for the last, I guess, probably 4.5 years. And she literally squirreled away money, her dollar a day thing. Okay. Her husband's car broke down. They were not in a position financially to take out the plastic because they wanted, really meant it about getting out of debt. The wife squirreled the money away. Guess what? She didn't tell her husband the whole time. So every day she was putting away dollar, 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 cutting corners here, cutting corners there, not buying that extra bag of chips, probably all the things we don't have to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Guess what? He was like so nervous, freaking out about what am I going to do about fixing this car? She said, I'm not worried. And he was like, huh? She whipped out the money. She whipped out
Yeah,
the money.
yeah.
Now,
If you have it set aside, you build it up. Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, that was a proud moment for me. She thanked me, and it just felt so good. We think we're not reaching people, not true. We actually are, and that makes me feel good. So I mean, that was a practical situation. Okay, squirrels, like, they need the nuts for the winter. We need savings for the winters in our lives, just like the stockpile. Which, by the way, Steve, I have to tell you a quick stockpile story. I actually increased my stockpile quite well, not, I wouldn't say quite, but I mean in somewhat of a fashion in the last 7 days. And I'm recording a video tomorrow morning to be uploaded tomorrow afternoon on Sunday. I want to show even within 1 week. The point I'm trying to make, Steve, is that small bites count.
Oh, they do.
Are you in
Yeah,
agreement with that about the small bites?
yeah. Uh, uh, another another way to go about it that I've used. There's a little saying. I believe it's from a book slow and steady wins the race, which it will. I don't believe in, when I in my videos I've mentioned, when you go to build a stockpile, build it according to your finances. If $10 is all you can afford, do $10. You might be amazed, and you don't have to buy store brand canned goods or store brand everything. You might be amazed on how you'll come out. And if you go to certain grocery stores to buy your stuff, you may actually come out even better. So whatever your finances will allow you, 10, 15, 20, whatever you want to contribute into it each month. If you contribute 20 a month in a stockpile, 20, 20, 20, 20, in about 3 or 4 months, you might be amazed to see what result you have.
That's right. And for those blessed enough to live near an Aldi's, I don't. Okay. Unfortunately, don't
Yeah.
ask me why I don't put them in certain areas. Make a long story short, they are doing a rollback because of Thanksgiving time and everything. They're doing a rollback
Yeah.
of prices, right? To 2019.
2019, they're
I'm
moving them
like
back.
looking at the ad going, but what it would cost me to get to one of those Aldi's, it would make, it would be way.
Yeah.
But for
If
those who
I,
can get there,
from here, of course, I've got Save a Lot, which is literally like a mile and a half, 1.7 down the road, and then I've got a Dollar Tree literally right up here too. But they're good to shop at. Now, if I want to go to an Aldi, I'm probably, if the traffic is right, I'm probably a good 8 to 10 minutes away by car. I mean, it's not way out of my way, but I do like to shop there. I do like to buy their canned goods, if not their Walmart, of course. Um, if people are, this is an Aldi product I'm about to push right here. Both you and I have tried it, and I got it recommended from you. For those of you that do like instant coffee, I'm on my second jar when I do drink it, or whenever I decide to have it. Aldi instant coffee, their brand, is really not half bad, and for the price that you pay, $3.19 versus what you would pay for other brands, it's not. I mean, it's definitely worth your money, I think.
it is so freaking delicious. What
Yes, it
happened
is.
was I was gifted a jar of it from, family member. And I was like, oh, how nice. So I tried it the next day. I was like, this is really too freaking good. It was quite
Hmm.
good. So then I said, Steve, you're not going to believe this coffee. And it was from Aldi's. So, but you see, this is another thing, Steve. Want to get back to that savings thing for a minute? This is really important, everyone watching. When I say $1 a day in savings, I don't necessarily mean take $1 and put it away. Yes, please do that if you want to. That physical dollar, watch it pile up. I'm happy people do
Yeah.
it. Yes, but Steve does this method. I think he takes $31 every single month and puts it to the side. Am I correct? Like all at once, $31?
Well, now that yes, that's what I do. You can take it all at once. It's $1 a day. Just take 30, 31, whatever amount of days. But based on my situation currently, I'm going to bump it up to $2 a day, which I'm going to take 60 or 62 or whatever the amount is, and I'm going to add
Super
that to.
excited.
Yeah, but when you stop and think about something, this is something that come up. Imagine if you put money away. Let's say somebody believes in a CD. Yes, rates are going back up, but if you stop and think about something at the end of a year, oh my gosh, I just made $100 worth of interest this year. Have you stopped and thought about how much that is a month? Have you done the math? It's only $8.33 a month. So don't start doing cartwheels and backflips in your mind over
Thank
that
you for
amount of
saying this,
interest.
Steve. Bravo, because
Yeah.
I literally mentioned the same point on my audio this morning.
Audio, did you?
I guess you and I, great minds think alike because it doesn't make sense. We have to change our mindset. Another
No.
thing, Steve, I mean, they jump into hoops and cartwheels for that. But another thing, let's say that, okay, you don't have a physical dollar, but you realize you don't have to buy this certain thing because you took a minute and looked through your stockpile or other things in your home or apartment and realized, hey, I don't have to duplicate that purchase. I just literally got to keep $10. Put that in your mind. Write it down if you have to. I'm not even kidding. This is why I say, go ahead, Steve.
I will say this, like I had just mentioned a minute or so ago. Yeah, interest rates are going back up on everything. Know that the credit card companies are not notifying you anymore about changes. That's out the window.
No, no, no.
They're just going to up and do it, on their own free will. What I do urge people to do, consider your options. Nothing wrong with a CD, there really isn't, because I know at the end of the maturity date you can roll it back over again and add to it. But do yourself a favor, find yourself an amortization calculator. Know your interest rates that you're going to earn on that money and see what you earn at the end of, say, 6 months to a year. And then stop and think about how much you could build up 6 months to a year on your own.
Absolutely.
Because keep in mind, if you decide to go and pull that money out of that CD before it fully matures, you're going to pay a penalty.
That's right.
So be careful. So definitely think your options through before you do anything.
And thank you, Steve. That's brilliant. And I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And another thing that a lot of us, we don't mean to do it. We're human. We get busy. This is real life. But if we could take that pause, take that minute and assess, wait a minute, I really need to assess, what do I have? What do I really need? Need comes first. Want goes last. Distinguish want from need. Now, I know we've all heard this a million times. Sometimes it gets stale because we know it. We need to always distinguish a want from a need. Like some people cry, but I really want that ice cream cone. Well, that may be true, but you really need that ice cream cone? And one place down here in the city, $7 an ice cream cone in some places. Yeah, I don't even want to get into that.
No.
That's its own show.
Yeah.
I actually did a show about that once, actually.
Well, you know what? There is a saying, and as soon as you hear it, because I believe you and I share this particular person in common, we used to like to watch this person on a Saturday night once upon a time, without giving a name. And at the end of every show, these words were spoken: people first, then money, then things. And you know who I'm talking about.
I miss her.
Yeah. So I looked up to her a lot. Matter of fact, her show came on MSNBC, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, she's wonderful.
But she's still
real.
around. She's still around. She does a lot of PBS stuff now, trying to, to pass on, like doing wills and trusts and things like that. But
what I like about her style, she breaks it down. She doesn't even realize that she's truly a brilliant teacher, because teachers chew it down, chew it so it's digestible. She's great.
Right, but she is right though. You have to focus on you first. Money comes second, and then things is third. I mean, and if you think about that breakdown, it actually works out pretty good. I've actually tried it. There's nothing wrong with wants. Every once in a while, yeah, we all deserve a want. I'm
Yes.
sorry, we all do. I would say at least maybe a couple times a year, treat yourself. It doesn't hurt.
Mhm.
But need is always going to be there. You need food. You need clothing. You need
a roof.
You need a roof. You need a bed to sleep. Well, you need bedding. You need a place to sleep. We have a lot of needs over wants. Oh, wants are nice, yes.
Go ahead, Steve.
Oh yeah, I want that car in the top right-hand corner in my photograph.
Wouldn't we all?
No, I want a 1958 Cadillac Fleetwood 60 Special, Cadillac. I would love to have that, but it's a pretty far reach, based on my situation. But I do want it. Do I need that car? No, because I have a car, that serves my purpose. But yeah, no, just, definitely focus on those words that,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
she said. In the pecking order of importance and priorities, clothing, warmth, roof. You and I, Steve, will probably be having a lot of chats about this in 2023. I'm just saying this factually. I listen to the experts and I don't say it to make people afraid. Okay. Don't be afraid, be prepared. If you're prepared, afraid goes away.
yes, it
You're
does.
prepared. So when people poo poo on people that try to get prepared, I say to myself, what? I rather err on the side of caution. Because if I'm wrong,
Right.
so what? I have extra cans of food or a little more money in the bank. I'd rather err on that way than err on, oh, gee, I didn't think. And by the way, Steve, can I throw another suggestion out there that I think is very vital?
Hmm.
Anyone watching this, please start saving some actual cash dollar bills. Because
Oh, yeah.
let's pretend electricity goes bye bye, even if it's a week. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if it will, whatever. And I mean this, it could happen to anybody at any time anyway. I'm not talking about like extreme situations. I am mentioning keep some cash on you.
Agree.
Yeah.
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 No, you have to, because don't get me wrong, the convenience of the digital wallet, Google Pay, Apple Pay, all these newer ways of paying for things. Yes, it does slow down the chances of getting robbed and fraud. I agree with that. It does.
For
But
now, it does until someone
yeah,
clever comes up with a new trick, in my opinion.
they will. They will. Oh, no, no. You always have a mastermind out there trying to figure out loopholes, and they always do. So, no, the cash is always, no, you're absolutely right. If you're, a place for you to get money is not available, or you can't pay for something using a card, credit, debit, whatever, but you got the old fashioned cash, you're still in a win-win. No, I agree with that. It does pay to have, not a lot, but it does pay to have some set off to the side, because you really just never know when one event from another is going to take place. You,
Goes
you
back
don't.
to the mouse and the squirrel. Squirrel some money away. Like that lady was delighted to show as a surprise to her poor husband who was so upset and worried. It's nothing to worry about. Here's the
No.
money.
Hmm. That's
You know
right.
what, Steve? We're going to get into emergency fund. Well, I'm going to get into emergency funds again in my channel, probably in the next week or so. And I invite you over to my channel anytime if you'd like to, come over and
Okay.
talk about it. Yeah.
All right. I'll do that.
Thanks for having
Um,
me again.
oh, you're welcome. No, it's always nice to have you on. But I one thing I may start doing. I was doing it. As a matter of fact, I just did a video about 3 days back. I think what I'll do about every other week, twice a month, I think I will do some type of a credit card financial video. It doesn't have to be all that long, just to put a few words out.
Wonderful.
So
Good.
I'm thinking maybe on it a couple times a month I could do, because I don't want to exhaust the subject. Like I said, I was doing them for a while, about a year and a half or two back, but I stopped. I backed off, because I don't want to exhaust the subject. And the reason why I say that, when I find methods, you can have 100 methods. That's all good and well. But if I find methods, even if it's 6 or 8 that work for me, I'm going to stick with those.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other 80 or 70 that's out there, or 90 tips that there may be. I just find the tips that work for me. Therefore, I'm going to go back and relay and share that information back. I have
I
no problem with
especially
that.
love your method of after all of your basics and your bills are paid and what you do after that's over, for the folks that don't know, you did a video completely about that, if I'm not mistaken, a few times.
All you do, and and I think a few of my subscribers may have actually tried the method, and they like it. What you're going to do now, what I do is I pay my bills as they are due. Remember, I'm on a fixed income, so I get one set amount of money. Like I'll have, like, one of my first bills is due on the 14th. I'll pay it around the 11th. Then I have another bill due on the 19th. I'll pay it around the 17th. Then I have another bill that's due on the 22nd. I'll pay it around the 19th or the 20th or the day after. But what I do is I calculate my money. After I pay one bill, I'll figure out my money. The next bill, a few days later, figure what I got left. The next bill, figure what I got left. Now, when I pay that last bill, that's what I have left for the rest of the month because I have nothing else due to pay. So that method does work. And whatever amount of money you don't use, it carries over. $2, $3, $4, whatever dollar, it will carry over to the next day. And if you don't use that amount, it continues to carry and carry and carry. No, it's a good system. I've been using it now for over 20 years, and I wouldn't just be saying it.
This is what I love. How do they say this in business? Proof of concept. That's proof of concept. The dollar a day, proof of concept. Again, I'm going to reiterate, anyone that started the dollar a day challenge 4.5 years back, for example, let's say 4 years, we're talking about over $1,200. Who couldn't use in their emergency fund $1,200 if they need it for any reason for an emergency?
I know. I could.
Small, right? Don't think small. Think long term in baby bites. Say, oh, that's so small. Yeah, it's so small. That means it's painless. I love it.
It is painless. Yeah. The only thing that makes it painful is you building walls saying, I can't. Wrong. You can. There is a way to make it can. So what? If it's only $1, so be it. So what? I've done the dollar a day. I've done it many, many times. Oh, and I will throw this in too before we finish up. I'm going to do $2 a day, but if any time within there that week, if it'll allow me to do 3, I'm throwing 3 in.
Good point, Steve. There's flexibility.
There is flexibility. If you're able to up it. If you can't, back it off. It can fluctuate. There is no guarantee or no set thing saying, I have to put this amount in. No, you don't. You do it as money will allow you. That's how I look at it.
Precisely. And the other thing, Steve, that I don't want to elongate too long for you. I just want to say this. The other thing is, think in terms of the unnecessaries. For example, just do a regular grocery shopping. Don't go to the register yet and don't check out yet. Look in your cart. Say, wait a minute, that bag of chips is $3. Do I really need that? No, I want it. Can I find another alternative that can make it home healthier? Yeah, I could do that.
That's
one. How you think.
I got one. Matter of fact, I have it in my refrigerator right now. So I went to Aldi. This was maybe a couple weeks back, 2.5 weeks back. Their brand of Doritos Ranch tortilla chips was $1.79. The Dorito brand was $3.59. Now think about something. I can get 2 of their brand versus the one Doritos, and let me tell you, it tastes almost as good. I'm just telling you. I'm just letting you know.
That is so good. And think of the rule of half. And believe me, look, Steve and I always have a lot of good information up our sleeves. So stick around. Take care. Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in with us. Like I said, there's not the taste, little to none. But in that case, and usually it's that way with most store brands versus name brand, not all, but most. But anyway, back to what I was conclude. I do want to thank you for coming aboard. Thank you very much as always. I'm glad you guys could be with us. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you guys could be with us this afternoon. And stay tuned for a really good Recipe Tuesday, just like it says down below, in the banner. I've got a really good recipe I think you guys will like. It only takes 10 to 15 minutes to prepare, and it complements your Thanksgiving meal for those that, whatever you're
Oh,
going to do.
wow. Sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. All right. So everybody have a nice day, good weekend, and see you back here on Recipe Tuesday. Bye.
Bye-bye.